So, individual constraints, perception constraints, bringing information in, intellection constraints, how we think things through, expression constraints is getting our ideas back out. And those are the basic ones. Well, actually, there's two more that I want to talk about, just briefly. So remember this study I talked about where people went into a room, they did a creative task, they came out, we measured their personality. We didn't measure, the researchers measured their personality in these 5 dimensions: agreeableness, extroversion, neuroticism, conscientiousness, and openness. And we saw that there was not very much correlation between those traits, those personality traits, and their creative output. And then we introduced the one called cognitive ability. Cognitive ability means their IQ, how smart they are. And there we saw a lot more action, actually. So it looks like you could be fairly neurotic, but if you're smart, you could overcome that. I mean, that's a good thing for some of us. Now, as they finished this experiment, they asked the people 3 more questions when they came out. So the first one was how motivated are you? It turns out that people who are very motivated by the task, and they could manipulate motivation by paying people, like if you do this creative task, I'll give you $5. If you do a creative task, I won't give you anything. So how motivated were people to do it? Wow, that's a lot larger than even IQ. So it looks like if you're motivated, you could probably be pretty dumb and still get to a creative place. The next question they asked them is, did you have the skills? We asked you to do this thing. Had you thought about this before? Did you have relevant skills? And maybe they gave them some instructions on how they could do this thing. Having relevant skills, huge. Again, far more creative output. And the third one I think is the most powerful one. You know, there's R squared of 0.6. This is a very high correlation, was using a creative process. It's pretty astounding, actually. So now you could be dumb and neurotic and all those things, and you could overcome them just by having a creative process. And so what's the nature of that creative process? What is the kind of thing that it is that we can do to help us get to a new place? Well, it's pretty simple. You can generate a lot of ideas, you can choose the best one, and then you can do that one. So when you're asked to do a task, generate a lot of ideas, choose the best one, and then do that one. If you think about it, what are the alternatives? What are the alternatives to generating a lot of ideas? Well, we've talked about choosing the first idea you think of. You're not going to get to a new solution using old ways of solving problems. And so again, generate lots of ideas. Choosing the best one. You'd be surprised at how often people don't choose the best idea. They don't choose the best idea because they really haven't explored the space, what makes an idea a good idea. They may not choose the best idea because they're afraid, because they know that they solved the problem this other way before, and if they solve it in this way, it might not work, even though it's the best way, even though it may be that the boss likes a certain approach, and if you do it that way, you don't have to fight with the boss, and so you may do that, and so it may be that you don't choose the best idea. And then the third step was to do that one, to do the thing that you know to be the best idea. A lot of times, people don't push through. They don't push through to the end. Remember this idea of persistence? They may think of an idea, they may choose the best idea, and then they go along and then they start second-guessing themselves. Wait a minute, maybe something's changed, or maybe I'm too tired, or they get bored, or they stop working on it. And it's the ones who go all the way through who actually make the thing happen by using it, in the end, by doing it, are the ones who actually succeed at the creative output. So again, generate lots of ideas, choose the best one, and do that one. And so if you use that process in the context of the framework we've talked about for the individual, bring information in, different problem-solving methods, and expressing our ideas, we can do the generate ideas, choose the best one, and do that one. So, looking at the full picture now, we can see how these pieces fit together. And so from a psychological view, that is from the perspective of looking at a person as a psychological individual, there's the ideas, the creative part, the beginning, the very source of innovation comes from the person. And so if that is not working, if that doesn't work very well, if that's over-constrained, then we're not going to get to new places. And the constraints we talked about were perception, where we don't get good information, where we're always looking the same place for information. We talked about the cognitive constraints, intellection, when we overuse a single problem-solving strategy, where we don't have persistence. We talked about expression, where we can't record our ideas very well, we can't share them with other people. And then we talked a little bit about process and how important process is, generating ideas, assessing them to find the best one, and then implementing. And we also talked maybe a little bit about motivation. And when people aren't motivated, they're not likely to want to take risks. When you're highly motivated is when you're able to take risks and willing to do that. And so if you have apathy, if the problem is not interesting, and as managers, some of you are managers, when you're a manager, if you don't present the problem to people in interesting ways, they're not going to be motivated by it, and they're not going to get to a new, better solution. So, What I want to do is say, put the framework to use for this week. And this week we're going to talk about in the next video I'm going to talk a little bit about the projects. So as you put this framework to work, here's a couple of things I want you to do. There's an online diagnostic, and you'll see that in the website. So be sure to take that, and there's going to be a little bit, I'm going to ask you to do some reflection on your individual constraints. There are a couple of readings in there. I hope you'll be able to see the correlation, the correspondence between what's going on in the readings and what we've talked about, reading on neuroscience and on flow and on how it is that the brain works in some ways, and written by people who are writing from a psychological perspective. And then keep thinking about, what can I do to overcome the constraints in my context, in my environment? All right. What I want to do is leave you with a link to two, I think, very uplifting videos about two individuals. One's called Kane's Arcade, and if you are a YouTube consumer or a person who people send videos on the web, you may have seen this. And the second one's called Moving Windmills. I'm not going to tell you too much about these. One is about a little boy who built a game arcade, and the second one is about a young man who built a windmill. And as you watch these videos, see if you can figure out how the framework applies in this case. See how it is that the things apply. How do they, these individuals, how do they perceive? Where are they getting information from? And how do they think about things? Because there's a lot in their thought structure that you'll see. How are they thinking about things? And then how do they express their ideas? Where does the expression of their ideas come from, and how do they get better at that, and how do they actually work in ways that allow them to put their ideas out in a way that other people can see them and say, wow, I can get behind that idea. And so again, think about the role of the constraints of perception, intellection, and expression as you watch the video, and we will I'll rejoin you next week. Again, be sure to check for additional information and course updates in the website. The website will have the latest of things. These videos that lecture videos were recorded a little bit before the class went. And so there's additional information in the course website. See you next week.